Righto, I'm going to show you guys how to service your air conditioning on a VY Commodore. Right, so just give you a bit of a background on the job. So this is my work car, and today driving to go pick up parts, the air conditioning went hot, so there was no cold air coming out of the vents. Now, I'm going to show you how to look over the car to see where the problem might be. Right, we'll fix the problem, then we'll regas it. I also got a new filter at the parts store while I was there, so I'm going to show you how to service it. It's going to be a really good educational video. Let's get together and have a good time. Alright, so one of the first checks we're going to do, we're going to check over with a daylight and some UV goggles. Now, what happens is when the air conditioning has been regassed before, normally the repairer will put in a dye. It's an ultraviolet dye that leaks out with the leak when there is a problem. Therefore, we can check it with this light, find that problem, then fix what's wrong. Because the original gas, R134A, that they use now, it's colourless. It doesn't really leave a stain. It leaves a wet patch from the oil, but when that wears out, you know, over a month or so, it can be gone. So you will never know where the problem is. Okay, so that's why we put this UV dye in. Now I'm going to check over it now, or we will, and we'll see what we can find. Alright guys, and easy as that, it looks like I've found the problem. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you another tool that we use. It's called a sniffer. Okay, and I'm going to sniff for a leak. It's just a tool we use to find out if it picks up the gas. Okay, so when the gas leaks, this thing it detects it, beep 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 goes off, and then there we go. That's another way we can find the problem. I'll get it now. So I've went and got the sniffer. This is the sniffer. Okay, so this end here, this is what detects the gas. Okay, so in this end here, this is the control unit. You know, your on-off switch, pretty simple to use. You just follow the gas lines, and then maybe it might pick something up. And, like, it depends what you got. Oh, it depends what you can pick up. You might pick up that, you know, like if there's, like, for example, the fan's going, or it's a windy day, or, you know, someone can fart near this thing and it'll go off, you know. So they can be temperamental, so you always got to get them serviced and regularly updated, you know. So, all right, we'll have another look, eh? This is the high side access port. It's a good place to check around here. I've got a feeling that the low side cap's let go though. I've found dye here, so that's why I'm thinking that might be around this area. There you go. So I've got a dye stain here, as well as now this is going off. I think the valve seems like it's let go. So we're going to replace that valve, do a service, change the filter, and yeah, I'll show you how to regas them. Cool. Alright, so first step guys, when you're going to do work on an aircon system, you need to degas the system, get all of the gas out, because you don't want any of this stuff getting out into the atmosphere. Okay, it needs to be contained and collected in a reclaim bottle, that yellow bottle there. The yellow bottles, it's a symbol of reclaim, so it's old gas. Okay, so you don't get them mixed up. Okay, right, now there's a certain procedure and way to do this. You can't just jump in and, you know, think you know what you're doing and you don't. Okay, so a reclaim unit, now they are very expensive, they're very temperamental, yet again they need to be regularly serviced and updated. So you need to know what you're doing with this. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to use it, and I'm going to explain how everything works. Okay, now I've attached the low side access port. Okay, so the gas gets sucked from there out of the system, right, and then it's going to go into here. There you go. Okay, so at the moment now the gas is coming up this blue line. So this is attached to the car. Right, now I'm going to open this to the vapor side. right? Now, what's going to happen, this is going to suck into the system, right? Now the unit, you get two options. You either purge. Purge is what you do when you finish, and purging means you're cleaning out the system. So this unit does not have gas in it, okay? So right now we're going to recover over here. That's what we're doing. We're going to open the high side tap, right? Okay. Now, we're opening this end of the bottle, and we're opening the bottle. Okay? Now once everything's on and open and everything's sealed and shut, you're good to go. Switch her on. And here you go. So this pressure here, right, this is attached to the vehicle. So this is the gauge that's saying how much gas is in the vehicle, or in that blue line that goes to the vehicle. So the idea is to suck it down into a vacuum, so you know there's nothing, no gas left in the vehicle or that blue line whatsoever. Now this red gauge is bottle pressure. Obviously it can only handle so much, and then it needs to be stopped. In this case, this bottle needs to be taken back to the dealers that sell the gas when it's at 27 kilos. Now this thing's only got 20 in it at the moment. It's checked pretty regularly. Alright, so now this is obviously back down into a vacuum, well into the green. I've disconnected it from the vehicle. Now what needs to happen is this unit needs to be emptied. It's called purging the system. Okay, so what we do, this valve gets closed, okay? This main control unit goes from recovering out of the vehicle to basically recovering out of the unit, okay? So we're emptying the unit. So this goes to purge, and you have to do this slowly. If you do it too fast, you'll blow it up. You watch his vapor side. You'll see the pressure that's inside the unit. Oh, that's not it. So yeah, you go to purge, and then you flicker over here, that's him. You watch it. There you go. So that pressure's inside the unit. We're going to empty that, and then we're good to disconnect everything. When you empty in the unit, it's always pretty fast, like that. You know, unit's gone into a vacuum now. Now's when you close that. Okay, you close the high side. Because there's no gas in here to come out further, you can close this open tap and it's not going to blow up because it can't pressurize anymore because you've stopped the suction. Okay, flick him off and then shut your gas bottle and you're good. So they reckon you are what you drink, eh? Fruit tingle. Nah, just mucking around. This is a cordial. Right, so the next step we're going to change the valves. We're going to replace both of them. Now, anytime the system's open, you need to change the filter. It's regulations. So that's what we're going to do as well. And this model, we've got to pull the front bumper off. Okay, so I'll skip that part. You don't want to watch that. But now I'm going to change the valves for you so you can see. They're just exactly like, remember when we were kids and you'd be riding your push bike and then the valve, you know, it'd go flat and the valve was leaking? You just have to muck around with a little valve in the tyre and be right. They have the same concept. These are the same things. So we'll go with that. So pretty simple concept. They just unscrew. So that little noise you can hear there, it's actually it's air going in the system. Because we put it into a vacuum, it's actually sucking inwards. Okay? And once she's out, there we go. That's a valve. Okay? So same thing here, we're going to remove the high side access port valve. The high side access port valve, there you go. That's him. Unwinder. There you go. There's another one. Bit different to the first one. This is the largest size. But they are both the same principle as the old push block valves, you know. Pretty easy to do, and they're very, you know, they do fail. They can be all that's wrong with your aircon system. You might not have aircon for 4 years, and there you go. You know, there you go. So it could be something as simple as a couple of valves that are causing you problems. You know, like I have people that come to me and they haven't had their aircon working for, you know, 4 or 5 years, and it's something like this. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cheap, easy fix. You know, come and see me and I'll have a look for you. I do free inspections, free quotes. This is what I do. I do fix aircons for a living. You know, this is what I specialise in. I spent a lot of my years and a lot of my life learning about this. I love fixing aircons. I love making videos about fixing aircons, actually. That's even better. But yeah, so, you know, it's an easy fix. You know, come and see me and I'll fix it. No worries. Right, so they're pretty much going to go back in the same manner. Right, so what this here is, this is just a refrigerant grade oil spray, right? So I spray this on every O-ring that goes in the vehicle. Right, right in there. You pretty much cover the whole surface area where the seat is for the O-ring. For the valve, you should never know, you know, they just drop in, okay? You get your tool. In she goes, and it gets on it, wind her in. Right, then she bites. You don't need to do them super tight, you know, that they're not a 20mm bolt, you know, they're just a little valve. You just nip them up a little bit further. Right, now I'll do the high side for you. Same principle, give it a big lick of lube, you know, get it right on. Drop the valve in. Screw her in pretty much. Right, now you've got yourself a new set of valves. What was that tight straight away? There we go. She's locked in there. Very good, very good. So now that the valves have both been changed, the next step to do is change the filter. Okay, so now I'm going to pull the front bar off and we'll go from there. Right, so a couple of people have wrote into the show and they've said that you don't need to pull the front bar off. You can just take off the front grille, the little grille section, and get your hands in and do it. So the thing is, you cannot do it when you have oven mitts like these. And the other thing is, to do it, you need to have short spanners. And there's no way I'm cutting my snap-ons in half just to do this job. So the front bar is coming off. Right, so front bar's been completely removed. What a mission that was. So now we're going to change this bad boy. This is called a receiver dryer. In other words, it's a filter. Okay, so what I can tell you is this thing is full of, you know, when you buy a new pair of shoes and the shoes come with those little, the bag with the little balls in it and that absorbs moisture. Okay, so this thing is full of it. Okay, so what happens is over time this thing will fall apart and get worn out and be blocked. So it is important to regularly service these. Okay, so you should be doing it every, let's say every 12 months. You should be coming in, getting a filtered change, because what happens is when this starts to be blocked, okay, or starts to sort of crud up from the system just being circulated over and over again, the flow starts to slow down, and that causes the pressure that's going into it to increase. Okay, because it can't flow, the pressure is going to go up. When the pressure goes up, that's when you get bangs, and you know, and you get leaks happen, and you get all sorts of drama. So to prevent that, come and see me, or come and see whoever your local person is, bang, get this done, because you know what, let's all do it for the environment. It's the main thing while we're all here, you know. Righto, So this is the receiver dryer that we're going to change. This is the old one that's on the car. Okay. Now, it should be a 17 and a 16 mil spanner should get you out of trouble here. It's always really good to hang on to the dryer because, you know, these aluminium pipes, it's easy to bend them or snap them or give yourself all sorts of drama, okay? Okay. I know, so 217s, there you go, I was wrong, I'll be stuffed. Never happened before. Right, you hang on to your pipe. Oh, giving me a bit of drama this one, eh? There you go, got him. She was tough. Right, that's the reason why you need this front bar off, see, because you try and leave it on, try and do this, it's just not going to happen. You're wasting your time. You know, you want to do a proper job and you want to be able to get in there and see what's going on. This is the way to do it. Okay, so obviously this hasn't been changed in a long time. Right? Yeah. So yeah, two 17mm nuts. And then there's like an 8mm. It's an 8mm screw that sort of clamps it on, or you can use a Phillips. And Phillips got it. Well, oven mitts come in handy, eh? There you go. Right. I'll have to get that clamp one out all the way. There you go, eh? Right. There's the old one. Ooh. There you go. Here's the newie. Right. Fucking tough. Tell you what. Oh, tougher than me. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to change these O-rings. Right, because they need to be replaced. Every time you open up a seal, you need to replace it. Okay, there's your oldies. Lucky I came prepared and have two ready to go. Two brand spankers. Just get them in the little box here. Right, here we go. Let's slip them fellas on. Sometimes they can give you a bit of grief, but don't let that worry you. Right, so now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to give these O-rings a bit of a spray. I'll give them a good lick and make sure they're really oiled up. Because the idea of doing this is when you actually put them on and clamp them in, if it's dry, it'll pinch and then it'll later on give you dramas. Okay, here's the new dryer. Okay, so it's always good to, so I've pushed that pipe in, right? So the pipe's pushed right in up against the nut. So therefore, you know that O-ring is seating good. She's in there. Okay? If you don't do that, you're going to end up with dramas later on. Like it's very easy to, you know, stuff this up. Right? So you can see it's seated good. It's all the way in. It's all the way home. Right? So while you're pushing, do this nut up. Till it grabs. Okay, so now that's in, you're good. We can do the same with the other side and do that nut up. Just make sure she's seated. Yes, she has. And there you go. There's two O-rings that won't give you drama. We'll get the old 17 out. Hang on to it again. And see, the thing is, you know, they're only aluminium nuts. Well, that one's steel, alloy pipe. This is steel. Either way, they don't need to be done up super tight. Like, don't get your rattle gun out and try and, you know, think you're going to do these up like Superman. Alright, because you're just going to give yourself trauma later on when you go to service it. All about preventative maintenance. Okay. This is that long bolt that I was telling you about that holds the clamping. Okay. There you go. He's just round the side of that dryer, so pretty easy. Not too bad, you know. Anyway. Right, so you guessed it. Now that we've changed the filter, now that we've changed the access valves, the system's sealed. It's got a new filter on it. We're good to vac it down, get all the air out of it. We're going to boil the moisture, boil the water out. Okay, and then while that's vacuuming, I will put the front bar back on, and then by then we'll be good to gas and we'll be able to get to see how it's done. Right, so I've got my gauges on. Right, so I've got my gauges on. They're just pretty simple. They just clip on, and then you twist them in to open the Right, so I've got my gauges on. They're pretty easy to connect. They just clip on, and then you just twist them in to open up the clamp. Okay. So now I'm going to attach the vacuum pump to the gauges, and then I'm going to vac the system. Okay, pretty simple. They just screw in. Okay, so I always like to open that first, open the high side, because then you can actually watch it go into a vacuum. Okay, so yeah, open this tap, and then we're going to turn it on. So as you can see, like this vacuum pump, it's pretty powerful, 1.5 horsepower, it's like one of the stronger ones. And that pulled that down pretty quick into a vacuum. So 0 is like a neutral atmospheric pressure, which is whatever we are in now. Basically 0 means the system's open, and then this is sucking right down into a vacuum, okay? Now what I want you to see is, can you see that vapor coming up? Okay, so what that's boiling water, that's vapor. So what happens is, I'll give you a rundown on how atmospheric pressure works when it's in a vacuum soon, but yeah. It is coming out slowly. But so, yeah, that's water that we're sucking out of the system, because we don't want water in the system, otherwise the gas won't work. Right, so now while it's vacuuming, I'll just give you a quick rundown on how vacuum pressure works when it comes to boiling the water out. So what happens is, in the system, in the air that we live in here right now, the atmosphere, there's water molecules in the air. Okay, so if you open the system, air goes in the pipes. Okay, so there's water in that air that goes in the pipes. There needs to be no water in that whole system for it to work. You need to get rid of it. So what happens is, water boils at 100 degrees on our atmospheric pressure of neutral, of 0. Okay. Now, when you put when you make your atmospheric pressure go into a vacuum, what happens is water boils at a lower temperature. And I believe it. No, I'm not exactly right, but this is what my boss told me, so I'm telling you. My boss when I was apprentice, that is. Okay. I don't have a boss now. I am the boss. So what happens is, when the vacuum goes into 30 psi negative. Okay. Now that is a lot. Right, the water boils at 4 degrees. Now where I live, it is hot, so it's a lot hotter than 4 degrees here. The water boils. So inside the system, I'm making water boil at 4 degrees. It's boiling. So So anything that's in the pipes is coming out of that vacuum pump. It's sucking out all the moisture's coming out, right? And that's what we want. So that's how that works. Righto, so that beautiful job of putting the front bar back on is done. Now, next thing, this thing's been vacuuming for at least half an hour. You know, that's minimum for what you sort of know you do, but it's okay. So I'm going to turn the vacuum off now, right? And we're going to get ready to gas it. It's going to be great. Right, okay, first thing about gassing up a car, you should always gas up on the high side pressure, because you want to watch see mine's still in a vacuum, right? So you want to watch that the vacuum completely does a reversal and gets pressure. Then you know you've got a good flow happening in the system, because if you gas on one side and it goes to the other side, it means it's good. And like, if the compressor's in good condition and the seals are good, it shouldn't flow backwards through the compressor, if you understand what I'm saying. It should go around the other way. It should go through the TX valve and then start pressurizing inside the load. Okay, so that's if you've got a good compressor, but you know, there might be a case where a little bit might go through that way, whatever, you know, replace it later if it gives you drama. Okay, so sorry, I should say, this car, a VY Commodore, its recommended dosage of gas is 800 grams, roughly. It's 775 to 825. So yeah, I'll just put in 800, see how we go. 800 should be good. Right, always gas up high side, like I said. And you want to have an ear out too. You want to be listening to see if you can hear any leaks come out. It all sounds pretty good to me. It sounds like it's all equalising. Got 200 grams in at the moment. It's flowing pretty good. I like to do this slowly because I can keep an eye on the gauges. 330, 340. So I've got a pretty good set of gauges to actually go up every 5 grams. Is that right? No, it must be. Yeah, it must be. It must be every 5 grams. Eh? There you go. Yeah, it is. There you go. Okay, so we've got 510, 560. You're not always going to get the complete 800 grams in if the engine's not running, because the pressure in your bottle isn't going to be enough to pressurize the system. Okay, so I've pretty much got in 620 and it's flatlined. Okay, so the next step, start the car and we will get the rest in. Okay, we're 630 at the moment, so we've got another 170 to go and then we should be sweet. just ask. Right. Okay. That's really good. I'm happy with those pressures. I'm happy, you know, it's gas really well. It's performing really good. It's pretty simple really. Just, you know, if you'd like to take up this trade, you can always, you know, get onto your local tape, see what they're saying. Check the temperature for you. .2 degrees in that vehicle. You know, you can't complain about that. That's top shelf. You know, it's hot where I am now, and it's night time. You know, like that's phenomenal work. So if you can do this, or even do better, I'd like to see. So yeah, we should all get together and have a day of it. Righto. So now I'm going to teach you how to empty your gauges, so there's no, well, as least amount of gas in your gauges as possible. Okay. Yeah, I'll get it for you. Hang on, I'm going to get my son an ice cream. Right, now to go and get the whippersnapper ice cream, sorry. Paddle pop stick. Right, what we're doing, I'm going to show you how to empty the gauges, that's right. Cool. Now, system's on, everything's running. That's the first of all. If you turn your high side tap off, you've disconnected the high side hose to the engine. Okay, so they're not in link anymore. Okay. Now next step, open your high side tap. Okay. And because I've disconnected the bottle and there's a tap here, no gas is going to escape. So what's going on is I've linked only the red side hose and the yellow. Okay, that's the gas one to, you know, get it in. Right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty these to equalise the pressure inside the blue, which is the low side. Okay. So there we go. So all my gauge pressure from the high side is going into the centre, now going into the blue. Okay, so basically just the red tube, not the car, and the low side is now equal. So basically, what have we got here? All of this is only on the low side suction, okay? So it's only going to have about 30 psi, and your gauge will last longer sitting at 30 psi than they will by exhaust fan, than they will at 200. You know what I mean? So if you want to, it's just like preventative maintenance to keep your gauges a bit longer than they should. Right. So that's pretty much us done for today, but I just want you to know that I'm going to have another episode. Obviously the exhaust is playing up. I'm going to put pacemakers on there. So you're going to watch me fit pacemakers. We're going to do a dyno setup and all that. It'll be pretty good. So if you want to, you know, stick by, it'll be, you know, good couple of laughs and a bit entertaining and a bit of knowledge handed down to you. So, you know, like and subscribe.